All right. As I mentioned in the previous videos, the fact that we are in an age where men are waking up to their value. Men are starting to understand their worth. All right. Even though you still have those simps out there which continue to prop these women up and big these women up in their head as far as them thinking that they're more than what they're actually worth. I mean, when you look at it spiritually and logically, because these women, they scream bad bitch, Miss Independent, etc. But nevertheless, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, all these women get inspired in some way, shape, form, or fashion by men, right? Like I said, these men out here that are propping these women up, they continue to validate these women. It reminds me of the mother and the seven sons. The mother. Scriptures go into how, of course, the Lord gave her a certain spirit, right? But when you look into it, when you read, that strength through the Spirit of the Lord, it really came through the exhortations of the sons. All right. And again, through the Spirit. That's what that mother, she got that strength through her sons. So going back to what I was saying, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whatever power, pride, whatever ounce of inspiration that these women get, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, it comes through a man. All right. But nevertheless, as I was saying, with this simp culture, because you still have those out there. But again, soon, even that's going to be done away with, as it's already happening. It's been happening. All right. And as I was touching on in the previous video, these women, they're feeling that squeeze. They're feeling that pressure because more and more men are not validating these women. So they're losing that power. They're losing the power grip. All right. Because everything about the society, what upholds and maintains the society, it comes through a man. A lot of these red pill guys, they go into that, everything in the society that these women operate off of. Because again, they boast and they brag. Again, them being independent women, bad bitches, so on and so forth. They make money. You got these women on these OnlyFans, right? But everything it takes to, everything concerning OnlyFans, from the website to the cameras, everything that these women use to claim being Miss Independent It was built by a man. Again, this whole society has been built and is still being obtained and upheld by a man. All right. You see? So, you know, I saw another one of these, another one of these red pill guys. I forgot who it was. It might have been Andrew Tate or Myron or one of these guys. Ask some women about, because you have a lot of billionaires, you know. And I'm talking about more specifically women that are billionaires, as well as men, but women. But the point was being posed as far as that question, or as far as the question, name one woman outside of Oprah that got all those billions without a man. You know, because majority of these billionaires, these women that are billionaires and millionaires, period, you know, multimillionaires, all right, so on and so forth. Most of that wealth has come through alimony, divorce. It hasn't really come through hard work, you know. Just more proof that, you know, everything was and is built and upheld and maintained in some way, shape, form, or fashion through a man. All right. You see, so, you know, like I said, man, with all that being said, these women, they're feeling that squeeze. All right. Because again, I say all that to say, again, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, these women, they continue to, they only have power for the most part because in some way, shape, form, or fashion, they're being held up to power. All right. You know, they're being held up by a man in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But now they're losing that power structure. They're losing that power grip. All right. Like I said, you still got some of those that are, you know, the simps out there. But pretty soon that's going to be done away with as well. Because the Lord is going to have these dudes out here bitch made, you know. Scriptures go into how men are going to be as women. And as the scriptures say, women are the weaker vessels. So, you know, more and more reality is starting to hit, which, like I said in the previous videos, outside of accountability, because women cannot hold themselves accountable for shit. You know, and outside of that, reality is also another kryptonite for women. And that's why, the greater the pride, the harder the fall, because reality is about to hit these women like a shit ton of bricks. Before I get on with this video, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. And double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yoba Call from Great Millstone, Orlando. Slack it for the rant. All right, but you know, oftentimes with the rants, you know, kind of sets the tone for the video. All right, you get to talking and, you know, the precepts come to mind, you know. So without further ado, I'm gonna play this video.
Do not quit your job to become a stripper, because the industry is not what it used to be. I have been in this industry for 7 years, and the money is completely different than what it was 7 years ago. It's completely different than what it was a year ago. The economy is so bad. It is so bad that the rich don't even want to come and spend their money, because that's how bad it is.
Are we blaming the economy, or is it that these women have ruined a once great American pastime? Throwing rent money in the air and spending quality time in the boom boom room used to be a well-earned Thursday, an escape from crying kids or an annoying sexless wife. A The modern exotic dancer hates their customer base more now than ever. She has taught that you come to the strip club to exercise your patriarchal privilege, using your alimony and child support money to take advantage of women. Yeah, think about that line for a second. Yet she feels abandoned by you if you don't show up to quote-unquote take advantage of her. Yeah, a twisted form of Stockholm syndrome.
If you're a stripper in Arizona, you already know that because it's raining today and it's First Friday, business is going to be garbage. It's going to be so bad. And I'm just like trying to force myself to get out of bed to go into work. And I just don't think that I'm going to do that today because I just want to order pho and go back to sleep because rain? No.
You see, you'll hear certain of us talk about how women, when it comes to the roles of men and women, and we're seeing this, we've been seeing this, because as a woman, you're more happier when you're in your natural estate, if you notice that or not. All right, and what am I talking about? Well, for a woman, she's more happier when she's home. If she actually has a man, that can, she can basically be in servitude for, because we all have a purpose. I mentioned that in my last video. Even as men, we have a sense of duty, a sense of servitude. It is not to serve the woman. All right. Our servitude and purpose is to serve Yahweh Basham Shai. And we only feel complete when we do so. All right. And likewise, when it comes to you women, being in servitude to your Hawashai, all right? Because whether you want to hear it or not, there's like, man, your husband, he is your Hawashai. He is your savior, all right? And when you actually have a man that you can, or rather he comes home, all right? And that feeling of duty, that feeling of servitude that you get, there's nothing more pleasing to seeing you. When as a woman, you see your man enjoying the food that you cook for him, and a man that's appreciative of your servitude, there's nothing more satisfying as a woman, for a man that appreciates your servitude. You see, but in this society, you're taught to work against your own, or what comes natural to you. And that's why majority of you women are miserable. I was mentioning that reproach in the last video, that shame. All right. You've been taught to go against what comes natural to you. Because it's not for the woman to be out in the workforce. It's not for the woman to be out on the battlefield, handling, warlike situations to deal with pressure. That's not your role. So like I said, when we talk about certain things such as what they call gender roles, you think we're just talking shit, but all this goes back into the scriptures. All right. Let me bring this out. Psalm 68. Because vice versa, for a man, that's just basically he's idle. A man, he might be out of work, right? He might be in an unnatural state of playing the, so to say, housewife roles and things of that nature. It applies both ways, because that's not natural for a man. All right. By nature, men are primal. By nature, men are go-getters, Psalm 68. Psalm 68 and 12. Kings of armies did flee apace, and she that tarried at home divided the spoils. So you see, basically, as a man, like I said, just to put it in modern terms, the man, he's the one that went out, hunt for the food, right? Basically take care of his business as a man. All right. And with that being said, he brings the spoils home. And for a woman, like I mentioned, she's the one that divides the spoils. Because listen, when a man and a woman, when they come together, it's a beautiful unison, Because men are simple creatures. All right. Men can live in a 1-bedroom apartment, or a studio rather, and just sit on the couch and watch TV all day. Men are simple creatures. But if you want to add flavor, well, hey, that's where the woman comes in. The woman, she has a more creative mind when it comes to dividing the spoils, decorating the house, making it look groovy or whatever, set a certain theme. She might paint one room, this color, decorate the room another way, make it feel like home. A woman, she's gifted like that. She can make home feel like home. That's your gift. That's why you see women oftentimes, women, they love to be in the kitchen, right? They love to be in the kitchen, because again, it sounds like I'm just talking shit, but that's a woman's natural place, being in the kitchen for a woman is like home from home, a home within a home, That's almost like, in a sense, it's almost like her woman cave, like a man has a man cave. The kitchen is almost like a woman's cave, But just again showing you the dynamics and the roles, because I always say, to balance it out, men and women have their roles, Now, are women superior to men? No. But it's not to say that women don't have their important roles. You have a very important role. All right. But again, in this society, you've been taught to go against what comes natural to you. And that's why you're miserable. And that's why you can get a man, but you can't keep one, or no man wants to take you serious. You see, playing on.
Relationship between the 304 and the trick is now one of stress, no longer a safe haven for lap dances and banter. Such an environment also becomes a breeding ground for passport bro propaganda and berserker dog practices. With one trip to a restaurant in Yokohama, any of us could convert a slave of a pole brothel to a thriving resort.
You're like horse. Horse.
I think I found my wife, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he wasn't ready for that stare down. That Japanese waitress touched his soul.
But anyways, when I first started dancing here, I was making no less than like 1,200 on any given night, like a Monday or Tuesday, any given shift, because I would work the day shift as well. So like if I was working the day shift, I would make like my 1,200 or whatever, and then if I was working at night, I'd make like another 1,200.
So allegedly, an average exotic dancer like yourself was making 1,200 a shift and 2,400 for a double shift. So let's say you worked 4 days a week. You were making like 9,600 or close to 10,000 a week. That's like 38.
And I had a roommate years ago. We both worked regular jobs, and of course, we were young, our first apartment, first time being on our own and things of that nature. Things were rough, things were tough, right? But we managed to continue to figure things out, This was years ago. She eventually got to a point where she started dancing or, selling her body. All right. And boy, she started bringing in money. I remember that first week when she became a dancer, if that's what you want to call it. Man, she brought herself a whole new, brand new car, talk about what this had to be. This had to be 2014, 2015, something like that. You know, and she brought a brand new. She financed a whole 2014, 2015, whatever year it was. She got it. That first week she started dancing. You know, so you see, you know, when it comes to women in these type of profession, there is, you make money, make no mistake. But as you see in this video, all right, like the script is going to that vintage failing. Matter of fact, let's grab that. In Isaiah 32. Isaiah 32:9, excuse me. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice. And what's the voice of the Lord? It's the prophets. All right. Now, you know, first and foremost, you know, this is going into America. All right. That great whore. All right. But of course, we apply this to the actual women. You know. Again, it says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. And America is known as the city that dwelleth carelessly. All right. But again, applying this to the women, actual women. Give ear unto my speech. And you see, because you women don't want to listen to the men of the Lord. Right. Women don't want to listen, period, to any man. Right. And that's why it's going to get bad for you women, because you don't have no protection. You don't have that hedge of protection. Again, that whole simp culture, that whole simp spirit, man, more and more is being done away with. You women want to do bad by yourself. Well, do bad by yourself. All right. Pun intended. All right. Go do bad by yourself right over there. And don't expect, because that whole Captain Save a Hole spirit, man, that shit is being done away with. All right. You know, and we see it, you know, men not coming to the aid of these women that are in trouble. Right. Again, you know, you women don't want to listen to any man, you know, let alone the men of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Right. Well, let me say this, or say it like this, because you women have become such an enemy to your own man. Because I mentioned this again in the last video about how when it comes to the so-called white man, when it comes to the supervisor, when it comes to pretty much anyone else, you women, you have no problem showing forth your femininity. All right. You women have no problem, for the most part, acting like a lady. Right. You know, but when it comes to your own man, you ain't my boss. You don't tell me what to do. Right. You know, because again, you really treat your own men like shit. You know, and that's why I mentioned in the last video, you know, you pretty much listen to everyone but the Israelite man. So let me take that back. All right. Let alone a man of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Verse 10, many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. So you see, and these dancers, these strippers, all right, you know, because going into that vintage failing and the gathering not coming, you know, all the OnlyFans, right? You know, these TikTokers and so on and so forth. The Lord's getting ready to do away with all this shit. Again, y'all are feeling that squeeze, you know. That's why the Lord's going to force you women to come to a man of Yahweh Shemel Shai. A forced humility. All right.
the year, that's like $460,000, most likely tax-free. And you have been doing this for 7 years, and you're still working at a strip club and have the audacity to talk about the economy. Once again, girl math is undefeated. But like Kanye West said, I'm gonna let you finish.
But it's not like that anymore. Like, the stage used to be, I'm gonna throw money on stage, I wanna see it, so I'm gonna throw money on stage. Now, you're not really making stage money like that. Like, not like it used to be. You probably are making stage money if you're good on stage. And even if you are good on stage, sometimes there's nobody there to give you any money. But you're not making it the way that you used to make it. Like, I used to make stage money, like $400 or $500 just on my stage alone, and then get dances, whatever. But now, in this economy, you'd be lucky to make $400 or $500 on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. And that's if you're out here, like, talking to everybody, busting your ass. And then you might find that whale. You might find you a shark who's like, yeah, let's go upstairs and spend a shit ton of money, right? But that's just not happening as often as it used to. And a lot of people come into this industry thinking that, like, oh, yeah, they're going to walk out with the bag every night. And that's just not how this works, because there are some times I come into work and I have to pay my house fees and I have to pay all my fees, and I'm leaving with like $20 because that's just how it is that night. Like, the money is not the same. It's not the same. So don't think you're going to be able to quit your day job and come in here. You might be able to keep your day job and work a couple nights a week to have extra money to get out of debt, but that's it. This isn't a sustainable job anymore. It's not like, oh, I only have to be a dancer and then go to school at the same time and I'll be all right. It's not like that anymore. So don't do it if you're not prepared to have like really good days and then really shit days. Just don't do it.
Never pay for your internet again. Discover the Ultralink free Wi-Fi router. Built with the same technology used in space stations, Ultralink captures your internet directly from satellites, allowing you to connect at high speed anywhere in the world, even in remote...
Good days and then really shit days. Just don't do it.
This, my friends, is what happens when modern women bite the hand that feeds them. It's just far cheaper to go away for the weekend once or twice a month if you want to spend some money on a good time, but not a long time. And we all know you'll get more bang for your buck, literally. And you won't even have to go to Bangkok. Modern women are learning that these whales that they want to support them come at a very high price. They will have to be a project for these men to construct like a train set.
Did you subscribe to the message of Lord Destro?
I just came back from the worst date ever. I went on a date with a very rich man. He owned a lot of property, a lot of buildings, a lot of everything. So I went on a date with him. He was horrible. He basically told me how would I feel about getting my body done. He would pay for it. And if we didn't work out, I would have to pay him back. So, I was already self-conscious to eat after that.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta put that BBL refund money in the escrow account. If she wants to leave, that's cool, but that money comes right back. Yeah, sure, we can put a stipulation that after a few years of service, she can leave without any refund. Because by then, you'll put some good service and miles on that odometer, and you can put her up for auction.
Then he told me that men age better than women, so I'm pretty now, but I won't be forever. He told me that I was damaged because I have 2 kids, and even though he has 2 kids, it's okay because he's a man. I have 2 kids, and I should just be grateful because my pickings are slim. And even if that was factual, I just don't think it was tasteful. Then we know that feelings are not facts. And here's what that looks like in real life.
But wait a minute. You didn't smash the bell and press the like button. Blast. And although...
And I like this. Let me run that back.
And we know that feelings are not facts. And here's what that looks like in real life.
But wait a minute. You didn't smash the bell and press the like button. Blast.
So that shame right there. I'm going to leave that up for the duration of this video. All right. That reproach. Because you women are going to be humble, man. Again, reality is about to hit you women hard. And that way you're going to be forced into submission. One way or the other. You women are going to be forced into submission. Because once all these jobs, side gigs, whatever, once they all dry up, man, and you women to make ends meet, women that were once doctors, lawyers, making great money, right? What we seen over there in Venezuela, very wealthy women, they had to, sell their body, man, to make an ends meet. A little lesson in humility. All right. And that's why, more and more we understand Isaiah 4:1. All right. That's why you women are going to be begging a man of Yahweh Shemal Shai to take you in. All right. Because, again, the Lord's going to be doing away with these simps. All right. These Pookies, Ray Rays. Niggas going to be getting sent out to war. All right. And you're going to be forced to bow down in reverence to a man of Yahweh Shemal Shai. To take away that reproach, that shame. All right. Little by little, Yahweh Shemal Shai is bringing this place down, and you women are going to be left, like it tells in Isaiah, destitute, just in a pitiful case. All right. I'm gonna grab this Numbers 12, and just get to the point. Moses 12 and 15. Now this was after Aaron and Miriam, which were the brother and sister of Moses, came against Moses. But just to show you the order of things, Aaron, he wasn't punished. The Lord dealt with Miriam. Why is that? Because again, Yahweh Shema Shah, he's dealing strictly with the men. All right. And you women ought to just fall in order. And you're going to find it out. All right. One way or the other. Numbers 12 and 15. Because this was her punishment for coming against Moses. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days. Well, let me jump up to get some type of context. Verse 10. Because again, they both spoke against Moses, but the Lord only punished Miriam. He didn't punish Aaron. So in verse 10, and the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. So you see, he only dealt with Miriam. He didn't punish Moses. So in verse 15, it says, and Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. So because she came against Moses, the Lord dealt with her. She got leprosy, all right? And she making her unclean. So with that being said, she was shut out from the camp 7 days. Now, you got to put yourself in that situation, all right? Because it wasn't like Miriam, she was just sitting there outside of the camp and, she just waited 7 days. No, man, she was out there in the wilderness, all right? Probably had to, more than likely, safe to say that she had to urinate in the woods, probably heard all type of shit, she creeping on her. She's trying to sleep, I mean, she was out there in the wilderness by herself for 7 days. So you picture that, being in the wilderness, right? It's probably raining, dealing with the elements, probably couldn't start a fire, probably hungry, starving, dealing with those elements, and likewise, you women that don't want to come up under a man of Yahweh Shema Shai, well, hey, you're going to be left out there to fend for yourself. That's why we always say, keep that same energy. All right. You want to do bad by yourself over there. All right. Away from us. Because brothers are going to do a whole lot more rejecting than accepting. Because the majority of you women are just not going to make it, man. And at this point, we don't even feel sorry for you. You asked for this, Just like we asked for this ass whooping, being hopefully elect. Well, just in Israel in general, the Lord, hey, we asked for this ass whooping, we deserve this, but hey, likewise, you women, everything that you got coming to you, you deserve it. You asked for it. So at this point, we don't even feel bad for you women. Hey, just bear the shame. Like we had to bear our shame. We had to deal with the Lord's indignation, right? Hey, y'all bear your shame, bear that reproach. All right. And this is for the women that don't want to get right, because, to the women that is bound to come to a man of Yahweh Shema Shai, to those that are bound to obtain the mercy of Yahweh Shema Shai through a man of Yahweh Shema Shai, you're gonna get that mercy. But to the rest of you, no, you're just going to die on this side. All right. And hey, we'll see you on this. We'll see you on the other side, champ. So hey, like I said, man, beautiful times that we're in, seeing these things coming to pass. The spirit of Isaiah 4:1 is in the air. All right. There's a great humbling that's getting ready to take place. All right. And you women better tighten up, man, and get right, because you're not exempt. All right. You've listened to the so-called white man. He's convinced you that You know, because what do they always say, man? Women and children first, right? All right. You know, the Lord doesn't give a damn about none of that. All right. And there's some brutal judgments coming to you women that are going to be found outside of a man's protection. Yeah, you got some brutal judgments coming to you. All right. But Lord, willing, this was edifying. Call hello, Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.